Hey everyone, this is James Labrie from Dream Theater, and you're listening to Prog Rock Digital.
Welcome to Prog Rock Digital.
Hi everyone and welcome back to another episode of Prog Rock Digital. This is episode 2 of season 3. Thank you very much for downloading and streaming. Thank you for visiting progrockdigital.com. Please keep those emails coming through. Now, today I am chatting with, and very excited to be chatting with, Roy Khan, the singer in the band Conception. Now, we chat about the most recent release, State of Deception, and we have a general conversation about, well, where the band's at currently, where they're going, and, well, we even find out some things that we had no idea about. So stick around for that. We're back just after this quick break. The man behind some of the most iconic pieces of art connected to some of the biggest names in rock, Ioannis. Originally from Athens, Greece, in the last 36 years has created over 300 record covers for such clients as King Crimson, Fates Warning, Uriah Heep, Allman Brothers, Blue Oyster Cult, Lynyrd Skynyrd, Yngwie Malmsteen, Deep Purple, Styx, just to name a few. Be sure to connect with Ioannis at www.dangerousage.com. Coming July 30th, the re-release of Amaran's Plight, Voice in the Light, featuring Gary Werkamp, DC Cooper, and Nick DiVigilio. One of the greatest progressive conceptual albums of the 2000s is with us once again. www.amaranspplight.net. Out through Lone Wolf Music. Falsett have released their debut album, We Follow or Lead the Way. Available for download and stream, visit falsett.co. Roy Khan, welcome to Prog Rock Digital. How are you, man?
Thank you, and I'm feeling good. It's things are finally opening up again. We've, as you might know, we've had our first few gigs, in a couple of years. So, we're just dying to get out there, and we've got 3 good gigs down now, and we're preparing for Prog Power, beginning of June. So, yeah, sun is shining, everything good.
Roy, how does it feel working with the band again after such a long period of time? Now, you've been back in the band for, almost, 5 years or so. What was the dynamic like when you first came back? And, I mean, it's no secret you were in Camelot for, the best part of 10, 12 years.
It was, we've been keeping in touch, all these years, and we always talked about, doing something again at some point. When I quit Camelot, I just needed a break from the whole scene. But Tore Narvik came to me with a couple of songs that sparked it sparked something, it just made me want to do something like this again. And we got together, wrote some new songs, and that was fun. And the songs came out pretty cool, and it just, the ball just started rolling from there. But the feeling of, the 4 of us together and playing together again, that's it's a little bit of riding the bike, quite quickly managed to, move into that mode.
Roy, would you say the time away from the band allowed for you to bring in ideas, experiences when it came to songwriting and composition?
Well, I mean, with what happened and the way I left Camelot and the years that went between when I quit and when we started up with Conception again, I mean, just that time, provides, something, even if I can't say that I can't say that I'm thinking very differently when I write a song. It's pretty, the procedure is pretty much the same. We start with ideas, and then we just let the music write itself in a way, in the sense that uh, we jam out stuff and we try stuff, and when we have something that we like, we just continue to elaborate on that. And uh, a lot of people wonder if there is a thought behind it, when we start writing, but very often we just let the music and the lyrics just, sort of write themselves. Sometimes, of course, we have an idea of what it is we want to do and what it is we want to say, but it's more like we like when I sing, for example, when I do the first vocals, I just doodle away I mean, it's not really English, but there are a few English words in there, and sometimes they sort of make sense. Very often I have a line that I just keep singing, with the same lyrics again and again, and then I start feeling that there is something about these words that were meant for this particular part, and if they sort of make sense to me, or if I can, you know, uh, uh, if I think that I can make that sentence make sense by adding a little bit to it, I might pick up. I may start with that line and just go with that. But of course, there's a lot of thought, along the way as to uh, giving the song a direction.
Well, I guess speaking of direction, I got to say your delivery in Conception, your vocal delivery is far different from what you were doing at Camelot, and it's great because it's almost like from a listener point of view or perspective that you're taking me back to the In Your
Oh,
Multitude days. There is a difference there in the way you attack each line and each phrase. Kudos to you, man, because I think you've
mhm.
been able to staple your own unique Conception sound, and I think we're so pleased at the fact that you're back with Conception and you're back doing what you started off doing. Do you still have that vigor, that excitement there,
Oh yeah,
Roy?
I hope I really hope that is evident in what we deliver these days. We're very, very, still very serious about our art, and I'm still we always had this principle that we have to be happy with stuff ourselves before we present it to other people. So songs that we put on a record that's going to last forever, we would never do that, unless we were super happy with it. But as far as my vocals go, it's obviously Conception sounds different. I mean, Tora writes differently from Thomas, and just that different approach from the starting point when a song is being born is something that will give me a different approach,
Approach.
yeah, to how I'm going to do the vocals. So that might be part of it.
Now, with reference to your fifth album and the reason why we're here chatting today, State of Deception. Now, this album was released in 2020. Why the title and what is the meaning behind this album?
Well, we just felt that, at the time when these songs were written, we felt that things were going the wrong way, and uh, there were so many things around the world that we felt were boiling, and the stuff that has happened after the release of that album. I mean, we had the pandemic and but more the political situation that we had, and not the least have now is we felt that title and the cover is not it's kind of gloomy, and we just felt that was a good an honest document of the times that we live in. I mean, in our part of the world, living standard is really high, and we have everything we need and more, much more than we need. But still, there's so much in this world that and everything can collapse, at any point. And there's been big wars before, and um, there's been disastrous happenings, in the past. And but we just felt that the political environment was you have so many. Uh, there are so many countries, even in Europe, like Hungary and Poland. You have the utmost right wing politicians ruling the country, and you have really um, questionable people in charge. In countries like Philippines and Brazil, and we have, I mean, a bunch of other countries, of course, and also the big ones in China and Russia, and there's so much, and these people also work together. And we just felt that this the title is a direct reference to us living. I sometimes compare ourselves with a frog. You probably heard the metaphor before, but the frog that gets boiled is in cold water and he gets boiled, but he doesn't notice. He doesn't. Recognize the temperature rising to a point where um, you should be jumping out, but it's going so slowly. It happens so slowly that you just can't you just can't believe that it's happening.
So you've given us a feel for the album, the environment in which you wrote the album, and if you like, presented the album to us with the title. Um, how was the album recorded? Was it recorded remotely? Was it recorded in a studio under the normal studio parameters?
Well, Tori lives in Stockholm and we live in Norway. So, but we record our stuff respectively in different studios. So we record in proper studios, and we send each other files, and just I mean, that whole thing is, of course, very convenient today. So that was no, and we also met up, all four of us, now and then. But the actual recordings were done separately. Tori did his guitars in Stockholm. I did my vocals in Oslo, and and Ingar and Arvid took care of their stuff. Where they were.
It's interesting that with the way things are now, we can just send files across, with a click of a button, and you've got a recorded masterpiece ready. What I find fascinating, though, Roy, is that even though we've had these technological advancements with production, with instruments, with studios and computers and so forth, you've still maintained a unique conception sound, even from a production perspective. And it takes me back, and I'll say it again, it takes me back to the 90s. All you need to do is hear, 10, 15 seconds of a conception piece, and off the album, that is, off your most recent album, and know straight away that it's conception.
Well, thank you, thank you. I really think that the two main factors as to uh, being able to accomplish that is just the fact that the four of us are still the four of us. We're older, but we're still Roy, Tori, Ingar, and Arve. And at the same time, like I mentioned earlier, we still take our art very seriously. So we work hard. When we're in the studio, we are fully aware of this is a document of this period in our lives, and we still want to be able to look at this when we're 80 and say, oh, hey, that was I'm still proud of this that I did when I was isn't that old, uh, it's I think those are the two main factors that gives you that feeling.
So the album has 9 tracks. You recently released a deluxe package, and that equates to 29 songs. Was a decision made to do this in order to keep the momentum going, or was it a fan-driven demand thing, or was it both?
Well, the thing is, we had actually you're talking about the new tracks on this deluxe version.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we wanted to. We always talked about doing a box set of some sort, with a good package for our fans. Um, but this one song that we had on or that we have on this extended version was actually meant for the original album. We just could not. We just weren't happy with it. So it was almost there, but when we hit the deadline we could have extended the deadline, of course, since we're doing everything ourselves. But it's got to do with giving people stuff when they expect to get it, and that's difficult. That's difficult as it is, with the pandemic and shortage on PVC. So vinyl is a nightmare and all that. But um, we decided to hold that back simply because we weren't happy. We don't want to release something that we're not happy with. So if you hear a recording of Conception, you can be quite sure that we, at least the band ourselves, we're pretty happy with what we're doing here. So yeah.
Regarding the environment that you're working in now, the machine, the marketing machine that makes all this happen, um,
Mhm.
how has that changed from back when you first started in Conception? Do you find that you've got greater control over your music, over the path in which you want Conception to go, I guess, from a commercial perspective?
Well, mhm.
Um, a- and if I can just say, I mean, from what I see and read, it kind of feels as if, apart from piracy, it kind of feels as if you've got greater control over the business side of things this time around. Would I be right in saying that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the main reason why we wanted to do everything ourselves. Obviously, that's a lot of work, and sometimes we, second guess that that whole decision of doing everything ourselves. But it definitely gives you full control, but there's a lot of things that have changed since I first started. And I mean, the internet was not really a thing when we started. And then you had internet, and then you had social media, becoming more and more important. And you could actually market yourself for free, for a long, long period. In Camelot, for example, we used Facebook and all these. What was that first thing?
MySpace, yeah.
MySpace, and yeah. But I mean, all those things, were free back then, and now we're back to. Now it's actually like you have to pay to if you want, even if you want to just to get good spread among your own followers, you still have to pay, and that's shifted back to sort of how it was in a way. But you can still reach out, of course, all over the globe, but you can't reach as many as you would like, without having to pay for it.
So as we know, COVID has created, mass havoc across the world, and it has disrupted, if you like, businesses, bands, families, organizations, you name it, everything. How has it affected Conception? You did earlier state that you've just started your tour. You've played your first 3 shows. Where are you at currently?
Well, I mean, what happened was we set up a small tour in supposed to happened spring 2020, right? So we've moved this tour like 3 times now, or actually 4 times. I think we moved it to the autumn the first time, but then we decided, hey, let's just move it a full year because this thing doesn't seem to be over with anytime soon. So, but at this point, when we right before Christmas, when Omicron hit the world, we felt that we had to move the whole thing. But then looked at the uh, um, we looked at the dates, and we're so desperate to get out there and both play for people, because we rehearsed and prepared for this tour 3 times. So and then there's quite a bit of time, money, and energy that goes into just that, and then the thing doesn't happen. So we just felt we had to do something, with all the work we laid down. So we decided to keep Norway and Sweden, and Prog Power. We also felt was so far ahead that and it's not really up to us to do. I mean, that's something that's a festival, right? So we're keeping those, and we moved the rest to spring 2023.
Roy, my understanding is that you are close to your church and religion. How important was this in the making of the album, at least from your
Mhm.
perspective?
Well, I mean, Conception is not a religious band in any sense of the word. But we do allow. Um, I mean, there's a couple of these lyrics that are quite Christian, in the sense that I've used the Bible and I've used my own story to say something. But that there's no direct reference to Jesus or Christianity as such. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. But for me personally, it would have been awkward to not write about anything that has happened, since it's been a pretty big thing for me, at least, and to my fans. So yeah.
Track number 5 on the album, of The Mansion. Now, your vocal approach is somewhat reminiscent, and I say this very loosely, and I quote the line, "She claimed his name to thrive." Now, it kind of reminds me of, George Michael's darker albums. The albums that were released, I guess, towards the end of his tenure, end of his life. Having said that, whom are some of your favorite singers outside of metal?
Hmm. Well, I was a huge I was a huge Wham fan back in the day. So
That's
and
ironic.
I'm not a George Michael fan, but great singer. I remember seeing what was it? I think it was the tribute gig at Wembley, where when Freddie Mercury died, and all these artists came in to sing Queen songs. I remember thinking, wow. George Michael is he's like the only one that can that can do
Yep.
any of
Pull this off. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, pull any of Freddie's stuff off. But I always thought he was a great singer, and I also liked a lot of his solo stuff. But I wasn't really a fan as such.
Whom are some of your favorite singers?
Yeah.
Singers that have inspired you to and have molded you in the singer that you are today.
Mhm.
Are there, you know, some names that you can just drop?
Um, well, Morton Harker from Aha was probably the first. I mean, that was the spark. I just love those high, shiny vocals, and I sort of felt that I had kind of the same type of voice myself. So at least I could go. I couldn't really sing back then, or I didn't sing at least. But I managed to hit those highs, and I just love the music and the band. And they were Norwegian, of course. That was also back then. Nobody did anything outside of Norway like Norwegians. So that was the first band that really did something
Yeah, external.
at that
Yeah.
level,
Yeah.
coming from Norway. But yeah, I mean, there are so many. Jeff Tate, of course, from Queensryche. Um, um, but uh, I think I draw. I think I draw from. There are so many good singers, and there's so much good music, and I think I draw, from all of it. But there's nobody that I can like say, hey, that guy. But those two were definitely an inspiration, and guys that I wanted to
Emulate.
sound like. Yeah, I tried to sound like them, but other than those two, I can't really.
Yeah, and I think anyone would tell you that there's definitely a Jeff Tate influence in Roy Khan. Um, you know, uh, but can I ask you
Mhm.
what do you do when you're not rehearsing, playing, recording? What keeps Roy Khan, if you like, sane in this day and age? What do you do other than music?
Well, yeah, if I am saying that is. Yeah, no, well, I love working out. So, but I'm very, I have my, like I do, I can be totally obsessed with something for like 3, 4, 5 months, and then I'm tired of it. And then so I can be working out like 1 to 2 times per day in periods, like for a couple of months, 3 months, and then I'm a complete slacker for the next three. So I'm really on and off with that. And then there's family, of course. I like spending time with my family and friends. And since November 2020, that I've been my wife was doing home office, right? Because she wasn't allowed to go to the office where she works. Yeah, so she's worked from home, and I work from home. So but in the beginning that was cool, but after a while we felt that, hey, we were getting on each other's nerves. Uh, uh, and and I had this friend of mine asked me if I could step in and do some English as a teacher, as a substitute teacher for a couple of weeks. And I thought, yeah, why not? I'm dying to get out of here. And that was such a relief, just having all these people around me, happy kids and super colleagues. And I've been working there since then. And I mean, there hasn't been too much happening with Conception as far as touring goes. So it's been working out pretty good. But I I'm probably going to have to step that down now. That things are, I really feel that my schedule is a little bit too tight now. So I'm probably going to go back to doing just music again. Now that now that we're, I just hope that there's not going to be a new variant of the virus that's going to, you know,
Yeah, man, I hear. Hopefully, we don't have another wave or another variant come through. Now, finally, and if you like, before we end our conversation, I wanted to ask, moving forward, can you just let your Conception fans know, maybe give us some sort of, you know, look into the next maybe 6 to 12 months? What's on the cards for Conception in terms of recording, touring? Um, yeah, just give us a, a brief overview if you can. Provided we don't have another variant.
well, it has been quite hectic, the with we're also been working on the back catalog, and there's we, as I mentioned, we've been preparing for these tours, and that's quite a bit of work. Uh, but now we're looking at Pro Power in June, and then we're going to do a festival we're headlining a festival in Norway, up north, or in the middle of Norway, in Trondheim, and then we're doing Belgium festival in next spring. But I'm not sure. We're probably going to, go on, write some new music, and add shows. I'm sure we're going to add some shows, but right now we actually need to. We just need to take a little bit of a break and do. There's so much other stuff that we need to do in our lives after, because since Christmas or since way before Christmas, we've been it's been super hectic. And but I think people can look forward to. I really hope to see as many people as possible live, and there will be new music. You know, when we don't know, but we're not really sure how we're going to do it. See a lot of bands releasing one song at a time, which we partially did with this deluxe version, and maybe that's how we're going to do it in the future. I don't know, because recording an album is, for us at least, it's a very tiring and tedious process, and and it's been from when we started in 2017 till now. It's been a lot of hard work, and we just feel like there's not a new album on the way now. That's for sure.
Roy Khan, thank you very much for coming on the show. Great to chat with you, and best of luck with the tour and the album, and hopefully we see you soon.
No, thank you, Nicholas. Thanks for your interest. My pleasure, really. And I really, really hope to come to Australia one day. That would be awesome.